In this episode, I want to talk about how focusing on a few key things can help you to navigate times of uncertainty. Recently I had to do some instrument flying in order to meet the requirements for my commercial pilot license. Now, as a side note before I get into today's episode, if you're interested in learning more about that journey I took towards achieving that license, I actually put together a video, and you can watch it by clicking on the card up here or by clicking on the link in the description below. So instrument flying, I guess you could essentially liken it to driving around in your car, except not looking out the windscreen, but rather looking at your speedo, your odometer, and maybe a compass or a GPS to tell you where you're going and exactly where you are. Now, in order to show I didn't cheat and that I couldn't see anything out the front of the aeroplane, the instructor got me to wear a hood, which basically obscured my forward vision of everything except the instrument panel in front of me. Now, this is designed to try and simulate flying through clouds, flying through fog or poor visibility conditions, or even flying at night. And you can see in this clip here the sort of impact that wearing the hood had not only on my view out the aircraft, but also what I could see on the instruments in front of me. Now, under these conditions, it's actually possible by focusing on a few key instruments to not only fly the aeroplane, but to also get it pointing in roughly the right direction and heading in the way that you want it to go. So of all the instruments we have in the cockpit, there are 6 main flight instruments, and you can see those on the picture here. Today, I want to highlight 2 of these, the first being the attitude indicator and the second being the turn coordinator. So attitude, which we essentially could say is the view of the horizon outside the windscreen, is an essential ingredient in any flying, but becomes even more important when you're flying under instrument conditions. Obviously, if you're flying through a cloud, you can't see the horizon, so the attitude indicator becomes the master instrument, and it provides vital information about where the nose of the aircraft is pointing relative to the horizon. The turn coordinator, on the other hand, provides information such as, is the aircraft turning, how quickly is it turning, and by using the little balance ball at the bottom, tells us whether or not the aircraft is in balanced flight. So that little balance ball at the bottom essentially acts like a spirit level, and it tells us as pilots whether or not the tail of the aircraft is following the nose, or if we're slipping or skidding through the air. Now, essentially you could liken either of those scenarios to drifting your car around a corner. Not that I recommend doing that. So who would have thought that in flying, both attitude and balance are as important as they are in everyday life? Now, I also think that instrument flying provides a good perspective that applies to other areas of life as well. A classic example of this for me is navigating times of uncertainty. During times of uncertainty, such as the times we've faced recently, I actually think it's pretty similar to flying through cloud. Now, I say this because we can't exactly see a way forward. We don't know what's next or what's coming up, and we don't really have any good idea of exactly when we're going to emerge out the other side. However, just like focusing on a few key instruments when flying, I think it's actually possible to navigate these times of uncertainty by focusing on a few key things in our day-to-day life. The sorts of things I'm talking about here could be big things, such as focusing on your attitude or your mindset, or even trying to achieve or maintain a sense of balance or order in your life. But you might be able to focus on other key things as well. It could be simple things such as your diet, your exercise, are you getting enough sleep? Or you might even be able to use the time to think about and plan or strategize next steps and next tasks that you're going to complete to keep you moving towards your goal once this uncertainty lifts. In some cases, this may actually allow you to keep moving towards your goal throughout these times of uncertainty. But in most, if not all cases, it'll usually keep you pointing the right way up, heading in roughly the right direction, ready for you to fly onto your destination once you emerge from these times of uncertainty. The reality is that not even the bluest of skies are going to last forever, but by focusing on a few key things in your life, I'm confident you'll be able to not only navigate times of change and uncertainty, but also be able to continue moving towards your goal once you emerge out the other side. In any case, focus on those few key things and always trust your instruments. Thanks for watching this episode of Parks' Perspectives. I hope it was of some value and you got something out of it. Do you have something you'd like to get some help with, or perhaps get my perspective on? If you do, please feel free to reach out through my social media or through the comments below, and I'll see what I can come up with. Thanks again, and I'll catch you in the next episode.